Hey everyone, Wayne Unger back for the next episode of our Election 2020 series. Today's conversation is going to be about Donald Trump's impeachment and bribery, especially relevant given the fact that he has $421 million, according to the New York Times, in loans that he has personally guaranteed. So the question becomes whether that will subject him to any external influence by his lenders, whether that's a foreign state or a domestic actor. We don't know. We don't know who holds those loans. Now, today's going to be fast and the furious, and I'm going to speak quite quickly because there's a lot to say, and I'm going to try to condense it in the shortest video possible. So just to recap, Trump was impeached earlier this year. There were two articles of impeachment. The first one was abuse of power. The second one was obstruction of Congress. I'm going to set obstruction of Congress aside for a second. We're just going to talk about abuse of power. Now, in my eyes, the Democrats should have charged him with, and he should have been tried for, bribery. And the reason why is because if you look at Article 2, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, the impeachment clause actually says that the President of the United States can be removed if impeached and convicted of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Now, we know high crimes and misdemeanors because that's often the conversation when it comes to the impeachment clause. It's very subjective. We don't quite know what it means, and that's open to interpretation. However, bribery is explicitly in the impeachment clause, and we've already defined it as a country. Congress has defined it in 18 U.S.C. Section 201, United States Code. This is statutory law. And it says, whoever, directly or indirectly, gives, offers, promises, or receives anything of value to any or from any public official to influence a public act. That is bribery. Again, we've already unequivocally defined what is bribery. Now, let's look at the history of impeachment real quick. Trump is the third president of the United States to be impeached. The first one was Andrew Johnson in 1868. The second, Bill Clinton in 1999, and then Donald Trump this year. Now, President Nixon was almost impeached. However, he resigned for the Watergate scandal before articles of impeachment could be passed. But that's the way it was going. Now, there have been a total of 20 impeachments since 1799, and if we actually look back, Federalist number 65, Alexander Hamilton, if I haven't seen it, go see it, he wrote that impeachment is a method of national inquest into the conduct of public men, aka those who serve us in office, accused of violating public trust. So we have to ask, did Donald Trump violate public trust with his actions with Ukraine? So let's look at the facts. Here's what the facts say. Just to recap, President Trump was accused of pressuring Ukraine to dig up damaging information on his Democratic opponent, Vice President Biden, and Vice President Biden's son, Hunter. Furthermore, the president was accused of dangling two things of value over Ukraine. Number one, withholding $400 million in military aid to Ukraine that had already been appropriated by Congress. Setting the appropriation constitutional issue aside, because Congress has the appropriations power, the second bargaining chip that Donald Trump was accused of holding over Ukraine was a White House meeting with Ukrainian's president. Now, keep in mind, a White House meeting is something of value because foreign leaders value that public appearance of being in the United States White House. For example, the North Korean president, I'm sure, would love to have a White House meeting, except we would probably not give him one. President Trump, maybe, I don't know. We would not give him one because that would boost his international standing as a leader. And of course, that's controversial. But let's go back to Ukraine, for example. The whistleblower is who kicked all of this impeachment inquiry off by filing a formal complaint saying, hey, Donald Trump's July 25th call, 2018, with the President Zelensky was inappropriate. So cue the impeachment investigation. Now, the July 25th call with Ukrainian's president came after Donald Trump had already blocked millions, 400 million specifically, of U.S. military aid to Ukraine. A senior official testified to this. Now, we can also look at two testimonies, which is evidence. This is clear-cut evidence, sworn testimony to Congress from two ambassadors, Bill Taylor and Gordon Scotland. So beginning with the top diplomat to Ukraine, Bill Taylor. He testified that the United States military aid to Ukraine and a Trump-Zelensky White House meeting were conditioned on Zelensky publicly announcing investigations into the Bidens and the alleged Ukrainian influence in 2016. Furthermore, U.S. Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Scotland, testified that he worked with the president's personal attorney, Mr. Rudy Giuliani, at Trump's express direction to arrange a quid pro quo with the Ukrainian government. Now, in this is clear bribery in my eyes, right? You're saying, hey, I'm going to give you something of value. That's $400 million in military aid and a White House meeting if you do this, if you announce the investigation into the Bidens. That is influencing a public act. Both people are receiving something of value. This is clear-cut bribery according to the United States Code, 18 U.S.C. Section 201. Whew. Now, the reason why I mention this today is because ahead of the 2020 election, and with the New York Times article released on Sunday saying that Donald Trump will owe $421 million, I've also heard $321 million, millions of dollars worth of loans that will become due should he win a second term during the next 4 years. Now, we have to ask as voters whether that is appropriate, whether it's appropriate for somebody to have that much leverage over the President of the United States, because the President of the United States has the entire federal government at his or her disposal, right? All these types of decisions, whether that's monetary policy, economic policy, foreign policy, domestic policy, regulatory policy, you name it, is at President Trump's discretion should he win another term. And if these loans become due, which they say they will, we don't know who holds those loans. We don't know whether it's Russia who holds those loans. We don't know whether it's Ukraine who holds those loans. We don't know whether it's Germany or Deutsche Bank who holds those loans. And we don't know whether Deutsche Bank, as some reporters have reported, or speculated, I should say, that Deutsche Bank is actually laundering the money from Russian oligarchs, and the loans are actually held by Deutsche Bank. So that is all very perplexing, which we should look into, because we don't want the President of the United States making any decisions that are in his best interest and not in the best interest of the American people. So that is bribery, impeachment, and what is going on in the world in a nutshell. Ladies and gentlemen, share this video with your family, friends. Be informed, be educated, know the issues ahead of the November election. And if you haven't voted already, mail in your ballots. Check it out. And if you want to go to the polls on November 3rd, certainly do that. Don't vote twice, though, despite what President Trump says, because that is a crime. Everyone have a good day. Bye.